Okay, so I am delighted to have the amazing Janet, who's been an absolute delight. As I said just earlier, that it feels like, one of my ladies, one of my kiddies have gone to Rouge. She's amazing. Her progress has been phenomenal. And I think today she's actually seeing it, which has been absolutely amazing. So this is a case study on an amazing lady that approached me at the beginning of a talk I was going to do. And the actual amazing thing about this lady is her conversion. Her conversion was all in her mindset. And one thing that I know for sure is that her mindset is so strong. She's so confident in what she does, but she also knows what she doesn't. And that is one of the amazing things I love about Janet. So for the purpose of this case study, this is just for anyone that, is thinking about working with me or getting mentoring and assistance, even if it's not with me or it's Janet, just understanding Janet's process. So Janet, welcome. Please introduce yourself and who you help and what you do.
So my name is Janet Rhynie. I am a quantum change coach who helps people through coaching, education, mentoring, training, facilitation to understand, let's say, their true identity, who and what they truly are, to overcome the fear, anxiety they may be experiencing, to have more confidence and clarity to deal with day-to-day situations.
Now, why is that such a joy to hear? Because Janet, when we met, where were you? Because we weren't even clear on that process, were we?
No. So when I met Katrina in 2019, I'd had a flop of a launch of a program. Now you have to take into consideration that I have been trading JR training and consultancy since 2003. So it's been 16 years of, I think, being a jobbing contractor, really, just trial and error, learning different programs, and then just working with people on a one-to-one basis. So no real clear understanding of business. So when I met Katrina, I had a flop of a program and literally didn't know what to do with my business. Should I just end it? Should I go back to my original profession, which was that of working within probation? I really wasn't clear. No. And when I met Katrina, I was at a networking event for women, which was to be inspired to understand, what do I do next? And I know I went there with the intention to work with somebody, but Katrina surprised me because she wasn't the person I intended to work with.
Oh wow! I didn't know that bit. Oh wow! Oh, okay.
No. It was another person. I'd gone there because it was that person's event, and that was the intention, was to work with that person. However, when I met Katrina, and the thing with Katrina, what's amazing is not only is she knowledgeable with information, but she's also spiritual with insight as well. So there was a connection there that it was beyond words. And for me, there was an immediate trust. And that was even before she'd spoken.
Oh my gosh, yes. I remember when we spoke. So the thing about this is understanding what you came for. So we looked at your business. Well, we just had that conversation. What was clear to me is we don't know what we don't know. But the worrying thing for me is that you were driving £5,000 into Facebook ads, and I asked if you could halt that until we were really clear about your audience. So I guess for the purpose of the case study, it's really to speak about where we started and why we knew what we didn't know, that audit process, and why it was so important.
Well, and it's interesting when Katrina says, when you know what you don't know, because I thought I knew.
Yeah, I
thought at that point I was putting money into Facebook ads because I thought I had a clear understanding of my market. And it wasn't until I started working with Katrina to go back to the fundamentals, which I have to admit I was trying to avoid at all costs. Understand your sector, understand who you're working with, understand who your audience is. And there were tools that Katrina made me aware of that I'd never been told of before, because when I'm working in the coaching field, they're talking to you, they're teaching you about your skill, which is amazing, how to work with somebody on a one-to-one basis, but the business of it, that gets lost. So I think a lot of coaches will outsource that, which I just didn't bother to. Or when people have asked me the question, who is it you work with, it was very surface level. With Katrina, she actually, when she's like, you need to go deeper, and you just feel like punching a wall. It's like, what does that mean?
I know. So at the beginning, what Janet did was, Janet ultimately did the audit, the business accelerator. So we did almost a year-long program, this has been, but the business accelerator, package and monetize your brilliance, and then the sales funnel clinic. So we looked at the auditing, where we were, what we didn't have. And most people, when we initiate and start off at the customer onboarding, they'll have a form. The process is, what systems, what software, what understanding do you have? Now, Janet was like, most of my things are no. And that's fine. That's absolutely okay. But what it highlights sometimes is that we're operating on tactics without a real strategy or foundation. Business we never arrive. We're always growing and getting there. But I think the great thing that I loved about Janet is she'd come back and say, right, I've done it. And I think sometimes what happens in the coaching and consulting industry is that people talk and teach at their level of perception. The real income, the real transformation comes from the depth. So when I would go back to Jan and say, okay, that's great, can we go deeper? And I think that's the biggest thing that I've seen with you, Janet, is now the clarity around knowing what you're talking about is the depth. Because I know when you said, now you've told me the truth, you wanted to punch a wall. But when I kept coming back, of course, I would then stipulate, okay, can we think about this by giving an example? But actually, Janet, that knowledge, that the real impact came from you going deeper. And then what I think when we did the customer persona exercise and the customer journey mapping, you came back, said, oh my God, I've been talking to the wrong people. And that is, the epiphany quite often, is that we're not going deeper. So actually people are talking about they're not making sales or they're not speaking to people, but it's because they haven't done those pertinent fundamentals. So Jan, tell me, as you went on, we then created the right systems. And the great thing is today, as we're working through that, what was your mindset and your knowledge before? Now you know where to direct people. You can map that customer journey based on where people are.
Yes. And
tell me a little bit more about how you felt about doing that work.
So, as I said before, initially I was quite frustrated because I thought, I know this, I've already done this, what are you asking me? But it did take a moment, just, okay then, Jenna, actually put yourself in your customer's shoes, not just what do they do, how do they feel, where would they be going, what would they want afterwards. So it was more than the, okay, here's this service that I want to provide to you. What happens beforehand? What happens after they've done the service? And up until this point, I had none of that in place whatsoever. I did not truly appreciate the customer's journey. And I think, as Katrina had said, the different touch points when a person comes into contact with you, I had no idea. I hadn't even considered it.
I know.
Whereas before, I just had this main product, which was work with me. It was thousands of pounds. And I knew that there were some people that couldn't afford further down in the product staircase, but I didn't appreciate what that could look like because I didn't know. I had no idea.
I think the brilliant part is ultimately understanding that those things lead to your product staircase, your customer's journey. And the thing for me is the way that you look at your business is completely different. I know how you feel now about the potential, even though, times change, market changes. We're in the middle of a current climate that allows us to then look back at your customer touch points and define new products or opportunities for you to sell. So Janet, having been through this, what do you recommend and who do you think this will be helpful for?
I think for anybody, so similar to myself, whether you're just starting out, and I think it'd be brilliant for you, whether you're just starting out in a service-based company or whether you've been working on one for years, it's to understand whether you have systems and processes. It's not enough for you to be brilliant at your trade and your craft and to go out there and sell yourself. because it is about the support, not only for your customers, but for yourself as well. It is about the process. It is about understanding where your client is on their journey and where to take them to. So anybody who's at any stage in their business, I would recommend working with Katrina, because also Katrina sees things in such a different way. I've worked with a number of different coaches who seem to be great at what they know, but they can't push you beyond what they don't know. And Katrina knows a lot and will take you to places that you would never have considered before.
Oh, so sweet. Thank you so much, Janet. Now, obviously, we're really pushing you and we're always evolving. We're at level of mastery now. How can you help people? I mean, obviously, this happens when you're working closely with people. Is when I'm moving to my next level, you challenge me to expand my knowledge, my thinking and my confidence in showing up. Because as you said, you saw me at my first talk and then you saw me at another talk and you told me it was completely different. But some of that comes from understanding your process and how you work with people. So how can people find you?
So people can find me on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, or Janet Rhynie, because my name is so unique.
Yes.
So Rhynie is RHYNIE. Also, you can go to my website, which is quantumchangecoach.com.
Yep.
And there you will see lots of freebies to help you, as Katrina said, with your state of mind, to understand who and what you truly are and how this whole world works in creating your experience.
Yes.
Because for me, if you understand who and what you truly are and how this world works, then you can manage and control more your emotional response to what's going on in the world right now.
Yeah, and confidently be you, which is what you showed me. Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Janet. Thanks again.
Thank you, Katrina. Thank you.